These are just pages from my desktop calendar from 2020, and I'm going to use the backs for this because it's really not something that I keep more than once. Okay, so if this is my garden, then over here is 1, 2, 3, 4. These are my garlic beds, 8. And these are going to be, these are not going to be used because they're already full of garlic and they're going to grow till fall. So that leaves us, now I was worried because I planted the garlic and then I found out you got to leave it till fall. And I thought, oh no, that's 8 beds not used, wasted, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. They got used for potatoes last year, and we were lucky to get maybe, what, 30 pounds, dear, out of 8 beds last year. So that's why these were kind of useless to begin with. This is the direction to the front of the house. All right. And these were my bean beds. But because they were bean beds, they've made the soil nutrient rich of nitrogen. So this year, instead of putting 4 beds of beans in here, I am going to put leeks, onions, celery. I'm only putting in 2 beds of celery this year. And let's hope they all work, okay? So these are leeks, onions, celery, celery. We know from Stephen that they're heavy feeders. But this is where the beans were, and beans, it's kind of like crop rotation, but with your garden beds. Okay, so what are we going to plant in here and in here? Well, let's move our beans over to the center row. No, let's put them over here with the garlic. Beans, beans, beans. Beans. And now, I don't have any rutabaga seeds, folks, so I'm not sure what I'm going to put in here. So we know that we've got our beans, our celery, our onions, and our leeks. Those are our staples, as well as the garlic. And I'm doing beds out front. So let's go get our seed box and figure out what we're going to put in these beds. Now, before we go any further, when these beans are done, they're going to be pulled up at the end of July, beginning of August, and then we're going to spin these beds. Okay? We're going to spin these beds. And we're going to spin them with kale, spinach, chard, and more spinach, if I have enough. So we're actually going to get 2 crops with any luck out of these 4 beds. Beans, kale, spinach, and chard. That's actually 4 kinds. All right, but we still have to figure out these ones. This one doesn't get as much sun, and this is the one I put my pumpkins and squash in last year, and it did no good. It just took up a whole bunch of space. The only thing it really did was protect my gardens from the neighbors' roving pigs, because the squash are prickly. But we're not putting that in there this year. So what have we got? We have parsnips, and that's my spinach. I think I am going to put pickling cukes here, where the, okay, so pickling cukes will go in this far bed where the squash were last year. Here is some white tip radishes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to plant these with our parsnips. Why? Because like celery, these take a long time to germinate. And I planted them last year and then dug them all up thinking, well, I didn't dig them all up. I just planted something else because I didn't see any signs of growth. Someone told me to plant them with radishes. You plant a row of your parsnips, and right next to it you plant a row of radishes. Your radishes will come up and it will tell you where the row of parsnips is. And then you can either pull the radishes or eat them as you see fit. So these are together, and this is going to be parsnips. So now that's that figured out. Those are there. Now at some point I am going to start marigolds, and I am going to put a marigold here and there in beds. Why? Because they keep bugs away. French marigolds keep bugs away. Zucchini. And we're going to try these straight neck early yellow squash, or yellow zucchini I call them. Now, I want some rutabagas, but I don't seem to have any. I'm going to save this bed open for rutabaga if I can find the seeds. All right, so there is our back beds. 8 of garlic, beans, 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 beans. Then when they're done, they get spun, and I put in kale, spinach, chard, and spinach. The center beds are going to be parsnips, zucchini, yellow zucchini, and rutabaga. And then we're going to have celery, onions, leeks, and pickling cukes. And with the pickling cukes, we're going to put in our dill in there. All right, so this is the back garden. There it is. It's all laid out, ready to go. Now, we're going to do the front garden, and this is going to take a little bit more energy. Here's a bed, and here's a bed, and this is where I put my pole beans. This is going to be herbs this year. And there is my steps. And here's where we're going to put tomatoes, 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 peppers, peppers, tomatoes. Maybe a pepper plant over here. Over here is where my apricot tree and my blackcurrant bushes are. Is the pool. And here is the barn. And here we're going to put in 2 more beds. Right here. Or one big one. And this is going to be watermelon. I'm going to try my hand at those this year. In the front, I want to show you a slight change in the layout. Howard is going to build me either a 2-tier or a 3-tier bucket doohickey. Look at the picture here. And that's going to be where I'm going to plant my tomatoes. Now, I don't think a 3-tier is a really good idea. I would rather have a low 2-tier and make it a little bit wider. But either way, I'm not going to have tomato plants in here. So I think I'm going to put in my peppers and then some beans. Right? Some green beans or some peppers, either way. So that's what's going on. Look at the babies. This is the Miss Wolfie from our half-acre homestead, and our groundhog said we only got 6 weeks left of winter. I love spring. Take care, God bless.